Good afternoon, teacher and classmates. We are going to talk about the project proposals and how we should write one to explain in the best way that our project is good and why it will have a great impact in the future. The first thing that we must understand is the philosophy behind the project proposal. This is one of the most important parts to be successful with a proposal. So we must have in mind the objective of writing a proposal is not only write what we want to do. We must also write the proposal to combine to the funding sources. So the first step is show clearly the impact level of our proposal. For example, in the first graph, it's not clear the level of impact of our proposal will be. In contrast to the second graph, it's clear from where it starts and the level of impact that our project will have, and how to go from point A to point B. So how do we do this? The main recommendation is to write a text that describing the inputs, the outputs, and the activities of the project. For example, the first bar defines the inputs or from where we start our project. We are going to detail points such as the needs analysis to justify why it's necessary to execute our project, and also the state of the art about the topic of our project, the justification of the partners for involved in the project, show that we are competent to develop the project successfully, show the capacity we have to manage this project, the resources that we have, and finally, and very important, a good track record that proves all the above aspects applied in other projects. So the outputs we define what will be the impact that will be obtained by executing the project. For example, the impact for the funder, the impact for the stakeholders, the impact for the beneficiaries, the sustainability of the project. For example, what will happen after the project funding stops. So also the value for the money, and finally the publicity strategy that will be applied to the project to make it known to all people in all the world. And finally, and also important, the project activities. These are in the middle, that we have detailed the activities that will be necessary to go from inputs to the outputs. And this is the best graph that we have to have in our mind when we want to write a project proposal.
In this part, I will explain four main challenges that are identified in many proposals. First one is read and implement instructions. Even though it sounds easy, it is a little bit hard to put in practice. The goal is to get the proposal approved, and to do so, you need the evaluators to be happy. So do everything that is stated at the documentation. For example, if the instructions say maximum 1 page for each section, you shouldn't write more than 1 page. And the evaluators may have the order to ignore if there are more pages, so if the main idea is on the second or the third page, they won't even read the idea. Another example is if the documentation says you should answer 10 questions in certain chapter, you should do so, even if those questions are hard to answer. The evaluators may look for these answers, and according to those answers they will give their the score, and you want the highest score possible. Give evidence for statements. You should assume that nothing is obvious to the evaluators, so you should always provide projects, references, and lists of past projects to convince them. For example, if you say in the proposal, we as a team have lots of experience with the A task using the ABC method, you may have the experience, but the evaluators don't know that. You should also include a list of the past projects that you developed and how you applied this method to solve this task. And that might convince them to give you to approve the proposal. Give enough details of the activities. The amount of detail should be adjusted according to the scale and the type of the project and the space available for the proposal. They give this example. In this example, the authors are trying to say that one of their scientists will spend 1 month studying in Paris to learn how to use this machine. In what we can see here, they it is not that large, it is not that detailed, so the authors may think that this scientist is going to Paris for a vacation or something like that. But in this redacted version, it is more detailed. In the blue part, they start giving a reason why the scientist is going to Paris to learn this how to use this machine. On the black part, they are saying what are the logistics. Um, who is the scientist going to work with in Paris? Why this Doctor X is good at learning, teaching how to use this machine, and how he has experience teaching how to use this machine. And in the green part, they are saying what are the next steps after the scientist returns from his 1 month course in Paris. And fourth, have consistency in all the text. Even though you write a proposal in weeks or months, the evaluators will read it in a few hours, maybe 1 or 2 hours. So it happens a lot that if the proposal is very large, you should reread what you wrote earlier to keep writing on the same style and avoid contradicting yourself. Because you don't know, you may forget why you wrote something or how you are saying something will be obtained.
Okay, and with everything what my partner's talking about, we can try to summarize in the next question, or trying to answer the next question, that is how much data is needed to combine evaluators. Uh, this is necessary because we want to know that our evaluators are understanding what we're talking about, that they have the confidence that we can resolve a problem, or that we can present new results that could playing the way for a new topic or for an area. Then we can try to change this question for how many words are enough to have all the data we need for other people to understand what we are trying to say. But the truth is that we can know. We don't know how many words, we don't have an exact number of words or approximately number of words for each chapter because it depends. It depends in too many subjects. It depends in the journey of the conference because we can know who is going to read our work to evaluate. Also the topic or the area because it's very different talking in a mathematical area than the medical. In mathematical, we have the algorithms, we have the formulas, but in medical, we have the cases that need a lot of information that we need to present to be sure that it's consistent information and not just an invent of the researcher. And also who reads, because the public and also the evaluators are going to be very different. And maybe this is to a factor or a lucky factor. Then we can know how many words we need to use for be as consistent and for have all the data that we need. But we need to know that our projects, or in this case your project, will be a series of activities to achieve your project goals. Then we don't know how many words, but we need to consider that evaluators need to know that we know what we are doing, that we can or we have identified the problems that and we can plan how to overcome them, and also they need to know the methods that are appropriate to achieve the project. These three subjects, these three activities also that we need to do or that we need to present to the evaluator are very related with the objective of the paper, with the methodology, with what we are using, and also with the results. Then are also other activities that we need to consider, but this is the main theme that we need to have in our paper. If we can express this with the exact words that we need, then we have all the work to do it. And here we have an example that we can present for Ingles in detail. And the idea is to start with the list that we need. Maybe we can start just with a little sentence that explains everything, and start to add in other information that we need for the details. Then we could start with a sentence. We plan to a stakeholder conference to discuss the issues. But here we have some lack of information, because maybe what are the issues that we need to discuss? Maybe what is the main idea of the stakeholders, or what we are going to discuss too. Then the next sentence is going to present a bit of more information. That is, we plan a 3-day international stakeholder conference in Belgrade in year 1, and another 3-day event in Budapest in year 2. Here we have information about the time that we needed, about the dates, and also where were the conference. Maybe we need more information too. And here we present the next sentence, that is, we plan to invite key ministry representatives and EU experts. Here also we have the problem that we don't know why they are needed for this conference, but we can explain more with the next sentence. We plan to discuss the key problems of treatment success rates. Then here we have more information about what we are trying to do and why we need to talk with these representatives. But finally, we want to summarize all the philosophy that we are going to follow. Then this could be summarized in 7 steps or 7 subjects that we need to consider. Then we can summarize the philosophy in read and implement all the instructions, get rid of the fog in the 2 bars, check all the evaluation criteria and implement it. If it's research, make sure it's world-class. Ensure your significant covers all Europe. Make sure it's good value for money. And make sure you keep the evaluators happy. Essentially, this last is the most important, because this is not about us. This is about the people that it's going to read. And the first people that are going to read our work are the evaluators. If we can make them happy, if we can be sure that they are understanding what we are going to do, that we know the subject, and that we have the results, then we can know that everyone could understand what we are trying to present in this work. And that could be all. Thanks for your attention.